Good morning to all my fellow Americans here once again to inform on what's happening. Let me put this aside here. Okay, got that one out of the way. Then I'll start interrupting. Um, I want to send a salute to all my fellow members of the DAB, for which I am a member, Chapter 11, and to all veterans of all organizations. God bless you all. And never forget those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in order to keep our country free, which now the so-called Democrat Party, which we all know is now a terrorist organization, wants to destroy. And also, don't forget, if you're going to boycott, don't boycott Goya products. They're the best. And the creator of Goya products is a true patriot who loves this country, who supports Donald Trump, and loves freedom. So buy Goya products. If you're going to boycott, which they still call themselves the Democrat Party, supposed Democrat Party. And the state of Florida, don't forget to vote for Maria Elvira Salazar for Congress. She's another true patriot who loves this country and is going to put a stop to these evil terrorists inside the so-called Democrat Party. And Donald Trump, let's see if we can name Jose Daniel Ferrer, just like we did with Venezuela, where we recognize Juan Guaido as president of Venezuela, even though it was without elections. Let's do the same thing with Cuba. There's no difference. You froze the accounts of the communists and pass it on to Juan Guaido, which I greatly agree and applaud. Let's do the same with Cuba. Cuba has been under this nightmare of communism for over 61 years. So let's freeze the accounts of these criminals, these communist criminals in Cuba. Let's recognize UNPACO as a recognized political party or movement, and name the leader, Jose Daniel Ferrer Garcia, as president of the republic, and pass the frozen accounts of the communists over to Jose Daniel Ferrer Garcia so he can administrate, and once the country free, then process free elections. So let me see, I was going to say a couple of things. Oh, okay. Now that I remember, Lori Lightfoot, I just can't, I can't believe how terribly evil, just evil, these Democrats, well, they're no longer Democrats. We all know, we all recognize that they are communists mixed with Islamic terrorists who wants to destroy this country. And they're doing it since they can't remove legally, Donald Trump, they want to do it by force, and they want to impose their will and their precept down our throats one way or another. So they're doing it by letting rioters break, rob, loot, burn down, and then they call it a peaceful movement, peaceful protesters, going into these urban areas and rural areas and terrorize people. This is what the communists and Islamists do. A lot of people don't want to say it. I might be even banned for saying this, but it's the truth. Let me show you a video. There's a video here about Laura Lightfoot. I want to show this, and then I'm going to finish off with some good news, because there's always good news with Donald Trump. Let me just show you this one. This lady's terrible. She should be in prison. No, wait a minute. It's not this one. Okay, it's this one here.
Democrats are being accused of hypocrisy for protecting themselves, but not their constituents. Protesters are banned on the block where Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot lives, while the city sees a spike in shootings and murders. Lightfoot defended the move. Take a look.
This is a different time like no other. And I'm not going to make any excuses for the fact that given the threats that I personally receive, given the threats to my home and my family, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that they are protected. And I make no apologies whatsoever for that.
Greg, you are high profile and have no doubt received threats in the past. Is there a Fort Gutfeld in the campground where you live?
All those threats come from Wando, and I know where he lives. So, this is the pure hypocrisy of many in the left, in which they deny the existence of crime and mob violence, as long as it's not in their leafy suburb. Well, it came to her leafy suburb, and now she thinks that she gets special protection because, yeah, she's a public figure. But my neighborhood got ravaged. I know it's an old story, but I always have to bring this up because it's very important. My neighborhood got ravaged, and half of it is still boarded up because of the looting. The shootings have obviously doubled in New York City. I wonder, has de Blasio adjusted or rethought his criminal strategy? I don't think so. I think it's going to happen again. If Trump wins, is there going to be a police force out there that's going to be willing to keep people safe from the far-left rioters? And what about the Floyd verdict, right? We don't know how that's going to go. And if it doesn't go the way that people want it to go, what's going to happen? More American chaos. And the media will pretend it doesn't happen because they're in charge of the race-baiting narrative.
Juan, if the mayor of Chicago has a right to the safety and sanctity of her home, do her constituents also have that same right?
I think we all do, right? I think that's the idea. And in Chicago, by the way, the law says that you are not allowed to have protests in residential neighborhoods. Now, Trey, I don't know if that's constitutional, but I think that's the line that they say they're upholding. I will say this, I live in D.C., as you know, and right now, there's a fortress basically around the White House. You can't go in Lafayette Square. Why? Because they say it's for security reasons. They want to make sure there's no security issue. So this extends across the board. You see this in other cities in terms of mayors and city council members. But I think the whole point about hypocrisy is pretty weak here. The idea is that we all should feel secure in our home.
Martha, let me ask you, you're a straight shooter. Do you see any duplicity between the mayors not wanting even peaceful protests, but yet shops are being set on fire in the city?
I do. I mean, why does she get protection and she's not pushing for protection for these other stores, these people who own their businesses their whole lives, who got the windows kicked in and they've got to start over, for the urban families who don't have police on their corners the way they used to, or some of them have just adopted a different posture because they're terrified of what might happen if they actually show up for the call and, you know, something gets misinterpreted, which does happen in some of these cases, not in all of them. Some of them are legitimate abuse in some of these cases. But, you know, those things need to be recognized in a big way. Remember, this is also the mayor who went to get her hair done when she told everyone else that the salons needed to be closed because she said, you know, I'm the mayor, you know, so I get to do this. One thing about Washington, D.C. and Jefferson and Jackson Square in front of the White House. I was just there the other day. I run in that area a lot. It breaks my heart, Juan. The reason that whole thing is cordoned off is because it's been destroyed. The windows are broken. Everything is boarded up. Graffiti is everywhere. They tried to pull the statue down in the middle of that beautiful historic place. So until we figure out a way to keep those areas safe, those fences are going to stay up. And you're right, it's a crime. It breaks my heart to see Lafayette Square Park. It really, really does.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it right here.
You've got a bunker too.
We're gonna leave it with this one.
Nice try, Juan.
Jesse, last quick word.
Yeah, because if one of those radical...
Let's see what happens. You know what? The only thing I can think about is arrest these people who are destroying their cities. Arrest them. You know, it's good for her, for Lightfoot, but for the rest of the citizens of the city, the hell with them. The hell with them. I don't care about nobody but myself. That's the kind of people we're dealing with in the Democrat Party. I can't believe Juan Williams, at least once in his damn lifetime, recognized that these cities, they need to be safe. They need to keep their citizens safe. I can't believe it, because he always comes up with something against the narrative. So let me, I'm gonna go with this last video, but before I go, like I always say, Donald Trump, I applaud everything you're doing. You're just a great president. I hope this country can be fixed because things are so terrible. I just feel sometimes it just keeps, it just demoralizes a lot of us, including me. But I know you're trying your best. I always pray for you and your family. May God bless you and protect you always. The same I always pray for Mike Pence. And I stand with God and Israel eternally. And may God bless our country eternally and keep it free. So, like I said, I'm leaving with this last one, which is good news. It has to do with the wall. This is from Next News Network. The one I just finished showing is from Fox News. I'm not gaining anything from this. I hope I'm not banned because I showed this video and this other video from Next News Network. I'm not taking away their rights, just showing what's happening and explaining. So God bless you all. See you next time. Bye-bye.
You will be jumping for joy at President Trump's huge border wall announcement. We're going to bring it to you in a moment. If you're new here, tap the red subscribe button down below and hit that notification bell so you're the first to know when the latest news breaks. This story from Michael Chance, the American Lookout. He reports during a visit to Arizona this week, President Trump went to take a look at an existing section of border wall and announced that within the next 2 weeks, 300 miles of border wall will be completed. This is one of the reasons the Democrats are terrified by the prospect of a second term for President Trump. They don't want to see the wall finish, and they don't want to see him fulfill a promise. Watch.
That's first and foremost, and I will say this, you're setting records at the border. Unbelievable, and I know the wall is helping. You know, in 2 weeks, we will have hit 300 miles of wall. And this is a small version of it, because actually the real deal goes up 30 feet. This is much smaller than that. This is a small version of it. This is what the finish will be. Those are anti-climb plates at top. So that makes it much more difficult when you get to the top, because you see these guys climbing up with drugs on their back. And when you see that, it's actually, they look at the wall and they say, let's pass. Let's take a pass on it. So it's been a really incredible success. So within 2 weeks, we'll be in 300, I think it's 300 miles.
So we're actually going faster than that. We'd like to think we get to 300 by the end of this week.
That's it. Wow.
Yes, sir.
And we're doing about how many a week? About 10 miles.
Over 10 miles a week, over 2 miles a day.
That's fantastic.
2 miles a day. You're going to hit 300 by the end of the week. The president is doing exactly what he told voters that he would do. He is fulfilling his promises. Unlike other politicians who simply go there and they stump, they make promises, and they never, ever fulfill. Thank God we have President Trump in the Oval Office doing what he says he's going to do. This is just one more example of that. Comment below. We'll see you at the next report for the Next News Network.